Jamal Green, you are 27 years old and never held elected office. Can you share with our viewers why you think citizens of Chicago can have confidence in your ability to lead the city, to swim with the sharks, negotiate big contracts on behalf of the taxpayers?
Well, because I've been doing the work for many years already. And if we talk about experience, I'm willing to put all of the results that I've garnered for the communities against all of the political records of everybody here combined. We fought Chase Bank, got them to give back $1 billion in their redlining communities. No politician stood next to us. When businesses were looted, gave out $250,000 to make sure that businesses were open. You know, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I've invested in many different businesses, balanced multi-million-dollar budgets, as well as had the pulse of the people for many years. It's time for someone who cares about the people and can connect to this generation and assemble a team of folks that can propel this city to a better future. And I'm ready to do that on day one.
Okay.
Right. Sophia King, you opposed Michael Reese as a site for a Chicago-based casino, describing the move as, quote, putting a casino in Harlem. Can you explain to voters why you would want to pass on what could have been an engine of economic development for your ward?
I think that the process was backwards. We should have chosen a place of least resistance where we could get the most money, where the community was supportive. My community has never been supportive. At least the Bronzeville community has never been supportive. That's where the casino has been rumored to go for years. Luckily, they stood up and said, we don't want it there. And because it generally has deleterious or bad effects in communities that are already under-resourced. So the casino will go somewhere else. But I do want to talk about the Michael Reese development, which is being heralded as now one of the most equitable developments. That's what they wanted there. So we've got a $25 million commitment to education. We've got a 20% commitment to affordable housing on site.
Thank you.
That's the type of development that my constituents wanted and got.
Thank you, Alderman.
In the Fourth Ward. Thank you.
Cam Buckner, you have been convicted of 2 DUIs, one as an elected official. What does that say to voters about your judgment?
Listen, I've had very clear conversations with the people of Chicago about my past mistakes. And not only have I owned them, but I've been accountable for them as well. And in the time that has passed, the years that have passed since then, I've had conversations with my pastor, with my family, with my constituents, and with my colleagues. And because of that, the people of Illinois, the people of the 26th District have continued to re-elect me. I've been elected in 4 different elections since then. The Speaker of the House has asked me twice to be on a part of his leadership team. And the Black Caucus has asked me to chair them during one of the most tumultuous times for Black people in this state. Listen, I'm grateful for redemption and renewal. And the people of Chicago have seen the work that I've done, and I'll continue to do that work as their mayor.
Willie Wilson, you've spent millions of dollars on your own campaign. You've given away gas and groceries before announcing your campaign. What do you say to those who say that you are buying votes?
Well, I would say you look back to 1996, front page of Wall Street Journal. We were giving away millions of dollars then in different parts of the country. And I'm not running for mayor in all those particular marketplaces. Chicago need help. You know, we're not going to sit by and wait until the city do something when we can help. When they ran out of face masks, I was the only one here to help. We gave away 6 million face masks, which equal to about $75 million in my pocket. We gave it away, more than in Chicago. But I said for those that think about it, why don't they get involved, to help people. We gave them to people on the homeless. The chances are the people that's homeless out there are not going to vote.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Brandon Johnson, bulk of your campaign funding has come from the Chicago Teachers Union and other major unions like SEIU, all very powerful organizations. How do you provide confidence to voters that you'll be independent and not beholden to these groups, especially when negotiating union contracts?
Yeah, look, I'm prepared to be the mayor of the city of Chicago for everyone. I'm happy to be supported by working people across the city, whether you are a school crossing guard, a teacher, a teacher's assistant, a custodial staff member. I'm grateful to represent the interests of working people. Look, I put forth a budget plan that speaks to equity and justice. We're going to eliminate the debt that has been caused by bad financing from a generation ago. And we're going to make critical investments up to $1 billion. And we're going to do that without raising property taxes. The people of Chicago should know that they're going to have a mayor that not only just loves this city, but loves people. I've done it as a teacher, as an organizer, as a Cook County commissioner, passing multi-billion-dollar budgets, working with 16 commissioners, constitutionally elected, protected, countywide elected officials. The city of Chicago should have complete confidence that my leadership will reflect the values of working people.
Paul Vallis, Black Chicago feels strongly about the Laquan McDonald video. You've been endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police. The leadership there came on my show and said that that was a justifiable shooting. How do you feel about that? And how will you bring Black Chicago and the police department together when they seemingly are so far apart on what police force is all about?
Well, look, I think I'm supported by the rank and file police officers, and that's why I have the FOP endorsement. But let me point out that I was actually brought in to help negotiate a settlement because they had gone almost 5 years without a contract. I not only was able to secure an 8-year contract for the police department, but it was on 2 conditions. Number 1, that I not accept any money from the FOP, and number 2, that they accept all the accountability provisions that had been approved in the sergeant's contract. And at the end of the day, they accomplished that. But there were close to 2,000 police officers ready to retire, and they would have retired had they waited a 5th year. So the bottom line is the rank and file police officers support me, and I don't get to choose the union leadership. I have to negotiate with them, whether it's the CTU or, for that matter, the CPD.
Can you share your thoughts on the Laquan McDonald video, though, sir?
Well, you know, I think if you recall, I was pretty outspoken on this issue 4 years ago in terms of condemning those involved. In fact, I was very outspoken in articulating that I actually thought that the punishment was not aggressive enough. And so that actually, in some areas, cost me support. So I thought I was pretty outspoken 4 years ago when I was interviewed.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor Lightfoot, you've been accused of being combative and confrontational. Our latest poll has your favorability at about 22%, and your own budget chair has endorsed another candidate for mayor. What can you tell voters about how you will lead and work with others going forward?
Well, I think you have to look at where I've been. Yes, I'm aware of Alderwoman Dow's endorsement of Brandon Johnson, and I can only think that she agrees with him that almost $1 billion in new taxes on top of the people of the city who working people, not just taxing the rich. His plan is actually going to hurt 8,400 teachers who make $100,000 or more. But what I'd say is look at what we've done. We've closed record budget deficits not once but twice. We secured a casino that was 30 years in the making. We're getting the red line extension done that has been talked about since the time of Richard J. Daley. And we have secured an agreement with the 7 counties around Chicago to be collaborators, not competitors.
I have a follow-up, Mayor. Well, why do you think your favorability rating right now is so low?
I think you have to put this in the context of the national mood. We are coming out of probably one of the most disruptive and traumatic experiences that people of our generation have ever experienced. The pandemic upended everything, our certainty about tomorrow, how we're feeling about ourselves. And we're still trying to navigate, I won't even call it a new normal yet. We're still trying to navigate where we are. In that context, it's understandable that there's a concern on the part of people because they're feeling anxious about what their today is, but also what their tomorrow is. And my goal is to continue working and collaborating to make sure that we move forward on issues for people.
Thank you. Roderick Story, you were forced into a runoff in the last election cycle and won by just 7%, having so narrowly kept your aldermanic seat. How do you expect to win citywide?
Well, if you would have asked Harold Washington that question in '77, you might
We're
not,
asking you.
You might have convinced him not to run. I'm asking. Well, 1, I won the race, and 2, I want to make sure that you understand a couple of things. 1, during that term, I've had my best legislative term ever, and I also lost a friend at the same time during that election. But what I learned from that election is that I don't talk about myself enough. I don't talk about the accomplishments I have on the city council, which are many. I don't espouse them on social media. I'm not that kind of person. But again, we have some great people here that have been in the races and lost before and yet come back again. This is all learning experiences, and we're going to get better by learning from our mistakes and our challenges. And I've learned from them, and I think that made me a better person.
Congressman Garcia, in your campaign, you share your relationship with Harold Washington. You was an important part of building the Black and Brown Coalition. Black Chicago feels like they have not heard from the Brown leadership since Harold died. If you're elected mayor, you will make history. Are you willing to make to Black Chicago the same commitment that Harold made to you and the Latino community to include, share in the success of the city?
Most certainly. I have been committed to the empowerment and the advancement of all people in Chicago, especially Black and brown. Why? I am the product of a movement that empowered both communities, elected Harold Washington, ushered in a new era of representative government like never before. It's a standard that has been lived up to by subsequent mayors since then. I am totally committed to that agenda. My cabinet, all of my appointments in the sister agencies will be reflective of Black Chicago, of all Chicago. I remain committed to equity and fairness for everyone. It's who I am, it's who I've been, and I've been a progressive since when it was hard to be a progressive, not popular and easy like today.
Thank you, Congressman.